Hello Otters and welcome back for another guided reading lesson. Today is our last text that is based on monsters and it is called The Nothing to See Here Hotel. Now I'm sure some of you might have read this in your free time already, but don't worry if you don't know the story. The text is on the website and today we only need to read to the end of page 13. Okay, so that's the total, I think it's 4 pages you need to, or 3 pages rather. It says page 13, but the story doesn't start on page 1, okay? Because if you have a look here, it starts on this page, and by the time you scroll down, you look over here to chapter 1, so it goes 1, 2, and 3. This is page 13. This is the last page that you need to read, the one that starts with My Granny the Troll. If you haven't read up to page 13 yet, pause me here whilst you read through it and then press play when you're ready to move on. Okay then, so you should have read through the text by now, and we're going to move on to our quick start questions. So let's go. As always, you can pause me here and answer all 3, or you can go through them one at a time. So quick start. Pause me here if you want to do them on your own. Number 1, what type of creature is Granny? What type of creature is Granny? So from this question, I can already make a sensible guess that Granny is not human because it calls her a creature. If you've read through the first page, you should have worked out that Granny is a troll, and they've even put it in big, bold writing. You might have gone that extra step further and said how she is a mean troll as well. Question 2. What is the name of the narrator? Now, the narrator is the person that is telling the story. So what is the name of the narrator? The answer to this is on the second page, chapter 2, and it tells you that the narrator is called Frankie Bannister. Question 3. What was his granddad called? What was his granddad called? Pause me here whilst you think of the answer and then press play when you're ready to go through it. Okay, then, so you should have found out that the granddad was called Grandad Abraham, and it tells you this on the last page. It says, according to my dad and Grandad Abraham was a collector of rare plants and animals. So that's where it tells you. Right then, moving on to the vocab. So here are some words I think you may not know or you may not know in this context. So it says dumpling, so sweet or short dumplings of fun. Slobbering as she did so, right out at the far end of the seafront, searching for weird and exotic things, and regurgita glump. Okay then, what I would like you to do is pause me in a moment. You're going to find these words in the text and you can underline them or highlight them if you've got highlighters at home. And I would like you to try and make a sensible guess what these words will mean and what they will mean in this story, in this context. Pause me when you're ready to pause me now whilst you work out the answers and then press play when you're ready to move on. Okay then, so dumplings. Dumplings are a food that you'd normally get in a stew, and this is how they're describing grandma. So I am imagining a short, dumpy lady, or at least the traditional grandma. Slobbering, you've got a lovely picture over here of a dog slobbering, so it's a bit like drooling. And the seafront is like the beach. It is what it says. It's the front of the sea, the seafront. And exotic normally means it's something from perhaps a foreign country or something unusual that you don't normally see. And then regurgita glump is the name of grandma, okay? Or great grandma. Or yeah, great granny, yeah. That is who regurgita glump is. Moving on. Okay, then question 1, I would like you to answer this one on your piece of paper. It says, why do you think the author talks about the big bad wolf when introducing Granny? Why do you think the author talks about the big bad wolf when introducing Granny? Pause me whilst you answer the question and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay then, so the way that you worded this answer might vary, but hopefully you made the link between the big bad wolf and the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. It's trying to compare this granny to your usual grandmas, okay? And they've compared her to the grandma from Little Red Riding Hood. That's the link that it wanted you to make. Question 2. How does the author want the reader to feel about Granny? How do you know, and what words does he use? This is really important. So what words does he use? You might want to underline them in the text if you find them, okay? And you must answer the question using evidence from the text. We're not making anything up, okay? It's all in the text. You just need to find it. So pause me here whilst you answer this question, and then press play when you're ready to move on. Okay then, so how does the author want the reader to feel about Granny? Well, this one, I would argue, was that you'd want to be almost a bit scared of her, a bit unsure of her, and think that she's quite an ugly and horrible person, because it uses words such as, my granny really is a hulking, stinky great troll. Okay, it also says that she's a mean one, a mean troll. And as well as that, it hints that she's hideous at the end of the text. And then describes her as very strange and very large. So it's not describing Grandma in a very good light. So if you said something along the lines of she's ugly, she's strange, she's not very kind, she's mean, I'd give you the mark for that. It also says in the text, my grandma would terrify the big bad wolf, so she's quite scary. If you got an answer that's slightly different, feel free to send it through to me and I'll try and share them in the morning welcome video, because it'd be quite interesting if you found different words in the text that support your answer. Moving on to question 3. So question 3. That's right. Yeah. This time in the quotes marks, they've taken it directly from the text. It says, you're probably thinking that I've had my brain scrambled or I'm loop-de-loop crazy. Why might Frankie expect the reader to think he's crazy? So this bit's straight from the text. Why might Frankie expect the reader to think he's crazy? Pause me whilst you answer this question and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay then, so it tells you on page 12, this is where the quote is from, right at near the beginning of chapter 2. The reason that Frankie might expect the reader to think he's crazy is because he's just told the reader that Grandma is a troll, okay, and how horrible she is. And obviously, your grandmas aren't normally trolls. And please make sure you've used your answer from before it's mentioned that. So you could not say how Grandad Abraham bumped into her on the beach or anything like that. We're looking for our answer before this quote. Okay, so what have we just read? We've just read that Grandma is a troll. That would be the answer. Moving on then, so this would normally be partner talk. So if you have an adult or a sibling at home who you could speak to, I would do that for this question. If not, just have a go on your own, but please make sure either way that you're recording your answers for me. So this time it's really helpful. It tells you what page to look at, and it says look at page 13. That's the page that begins with my granny the troll at the top, and the first sentence says about 100 years ago, back in the olden days. That's the page that you need to look at. It says, why does the author put some of the words in capital letters? Now, if you would like, you could pause me here and underline or highlight all of the words that are in capital letters. Okay then, so now you've had a go at that, have a think about which words are in capitals and what effect do they have on the reader. Why has the author done it? You might want to use the sentence stem. The author, you put some words in capital letters because. That would be the sentence stem that I would use. The author put some of the words in capital letters because. Pause me here and then press play when you're ready to move on. Again, you could have had a range of answers for this. I think for some of these, it's to show that it's an exclamation. So towards the end where it says, "No, wait, Abe, she's hideous," it shows that perhaps someone would shout that. But also the other words would show how important they are. So she's not, it says something very strange and very large. It's just to show how strange that character is, how large it is. It's to put an emphasis on those words, okay, and make sure that the reader knows how important they are. So when it says he changed the history of our family forever, okay, it shows how important that word is. Moving on to some solo work, last question of the day. Well done for sticking with me this far. Again, it says, a big mean troll that can eat people should be scary. But this story does not seem scary. Why do you think it doesn't seem scary? Okay, it does not ask you whether you think it is scary or not. It's telling you it's not, it doesn't seem scary. What in this story makes it seem not scary? You could use this sentence then, so you could, I think the story doesn't seem scary because, or you could flip it the other way around and use a quote and say, this part of the story makes it seem like it's not very scary because. That's it from me today. So you're going to finish off this question and then send it through to me. I will be back in a couple of days for some more guided reading. Bye.